do it live.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Demonetized again, instantly.
So fast.
Damn it.
So fast. Welcome back to another episode of Going For It. We are here with the Mikes and myself. Craig Brooks, no longer a part of the show. We fired him. He's gone. No, he is busy.
He went to a magic show and he has disappeared.
Yeah, he's watching some mediocre show by someone that's trying to do magic or something. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. Anyway, we are here to break down. There's did you guys know there's like a really big game this weekend? I don't know if you guys are familiar.
World.
I mean,
yes,
I was going to watch it.
Well,
I was excited to watch an Usher concert, but
that there will be a 17-minute Usher concert.
I'm legit excited for that. I'm also excited that they had to clarify there will be enough power for the Usher concert. So yeah, I'm excited for this one.
It's a good clarification. I wonder who he's bringing with him, because they always bring somebody. And I want it to be
just
good.
backed out.
That's a bummer.
Or whatever that guy's name.
It's Vegas.
That is definitely a DJ.
You got to do something
Dion?
special for Vegas.
Oh, she can't. She's got stiff person syndrome.
Oh, that's right. I forgot she was ill. Get better, Celine.
She was at the Grammys.
And her and Taylor Swift are probably not on good terms right now.
Why?
Did they get into a fist fight?
Did you not hear about the fact that she was the one who presented Taylor Swift her like Album of the Year Grammy or Artist of the Year Grammy, and it seemed like Taylor was just like didn't acknowledge her, just like ghosted her, and people were like, "Oh my God, she just ignored Celine Dion," whereas most likely just a heat of the moment kind of thing.
Yeah, I also don't put any stock in Grammys because I think they're stupid.
Yeah,
I think they've lost all their value in my opinion, but I will never have a Grammy. So
this is where I'm going to get on a little bit of a soapbox, because this is the only time I'm ever going to get a chance to make this rant. You know me, I'm a very big into like metal music and heavy rock and whatnot. It sickens me that
Judas Priest?
Still at a point where it doesn't matter what they release, even if it's fucking crap. Metallica always wins best metal album and best metal performance. Fucking Spirit Box was robbed. The future is now, old man. Like, get with the program. Get with some new shit. Spirit Box rules. Shout out Courtney LaPlante. She's a dope vocalist. Anyways, that's it. I'm done. Back to foosball, right? We're talking about foosball?
The foosball championships. Honestly, I've been watching a hockey game to this point in the evening while I was waiting for my shitty pizza, and I keep getting ads for DraftKings going to be live in North Carolina here shortly. I am stoked. I am ready to lose money that I don't have before I have another mouth to feed. I'm ready. I am motivated. Stoked. They wanted to get it up and running before the Super Bowl. Safe to say that that's probably not going to happen.
Mean, Hard Rock just gave me a new promotion where if I deposit up to $50, they'll give me up to a $50 bonus bet. So I'm probably going to do that when my paycheck hits tomorrow, and put money back into my account, because I did good with the first $100 that I put in there, and made at least like $900 in profit off of that. But it's mostly one good bet. You guys know how it goes with this game. It's,
remember that
you,
bet,
you have one that gets lucky, and then everything else goes to shit.
Accurate.
When the Hard Rock first opened up the app like 2-3 years ago here in Florida, it was open for like 6 weeks.
Yep, not even.
And
I was in it.
They had a like introductory bid, so it was like free. Your first $50 bet was free. I won that one, so that bankrolled me for a while, and I was winning until I started taking Craig's advice, and we started going in on some of the bets over Thanksgiving, and I lost all of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That tracks. For Craig Brooks and gambling. That really tracks. He is the person that brought me to the casino first, and that's where I found out my love of casinos. That was a night we went to Tampa to sell clear pong to the Tampa Graffiti, and he was like, "Well, we're out here. We might as well hit the Hard Rock." And I was like, "Oh, I've never done the casino before." And he's like, "Cool." I left up almost $500, and then Mel was really tired, so we had to leave, which is totally fine, because I was like, I'm leaving $500 richer. I'm good with
Of course.
Craig was down like 6. He like went
Yeah.
like we got money up front from Graffiti, and he was betting that on stuff. I was like,
that tracks.
Fuck, man.
That tracks.
Yeah, it was a good time.
All of this
and that happens many times. It happened many times.
Yeah.
I did trivia in the Tampa Meridian for like 6 or 7 months, and it was every Sunday for a little bit, and then they switched it to every other Sunday. And I did it for like 6 or 7 months. I made that drive to and from, and every time I'd stop at the Hard Rock because I was like, let's just see if I got a little magic tonight. I didn't have magic most nights, just so everyone knows. It was not a magical evening most of the time.
Yeah. My philosophy is I will lose this money, but I will have fun losing it. And then eventually I stopped having fun losing it. So
It's true. It does not feel good after a certain point. Anyway, let's talk Superb Owl. It is it's time, guys. The Super Bowl is here. I feel like we just started doing our podcast, and like now we're talking about the Super Bowl, which is a little wild to me, but we are here. The 49ers of San Francisco versus the Chiefs of Kansas City. This is kind of a predictable Super Bowl, and I don't know. A lot of people are saying that this is not. This isn't an exciting Super Bowl. Like this is the worst case scenario. Yeah, I see that online a lot, and I'm excited. I think this is a good Super Bowl. I'm pumped. I don't know, Mike Spillane, weigh in here. You're also on the internet as much as I am.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why people are saying that it's not exciting. People are saying it's not exciting because a lot of people at the beginning of the season said, I feel like it could be a 49ers Chiefs Super Bowl. And a lot of people want those people to be wrong. But, like, it doesn't mean it's going to be a bad game. Like, it's going to be, unstoppable force versus a movable object at times. Like the Chiefs defense isn't that great, and the 49ers offense can be streaky, and the 49ers defense is great and the Chiefs offense is great. Like there's going to be parts of it where this game is just going to be entertaining. So I'm excited for it. I understand why people feel like they, have to be against it. Sometimes going with the safe choice of who's playing, sometimes that's just the right choice. Like, granted, I know it's not a choice. Granted, this is not scripted. Totally
script
real.
writers.
But it's one of those things that it's going to be a good game. I think we're in for a good game.
So I feel like people are like failing to acknowledge the fact that this was almost a Chiefs Lions Super Bowl. And like without some incompetence and some like not having been their choices from that Lions coaching staff, it very well could have been a Lions Chiefs Super Bowl. And like it's just the better team won. Like I don't know what you expect. I don't remember there at any point being anything super controversial in any of the divisional games, any of the conference games. Like it's just the better team won, I think. I don't know. Mike Thomas, what do you think?
Oh, no, I think these are the two best teams in the league. I think the 49ers have been probably the most dominant team when healthy throughout the entire season. The Chiefs have certainly been streaky, and their offense at times has been suspect, but they have clearly gelled over the playoff run. And I thought the AFC went from being a very top-heavy team to just a very mid conference all the way across the board. I was never bought in on the Ravens being a amazing team. So it was kind of like the Niners are the amazing team in the NFL this year. And then there's a bunch of others, and the Chiefs lead that bunch of others.
I got to say, we've been very spot on with some of our analysis. Obviously not all of it. We are not professional analysts, and even those guys don't get it right all the time. But we've been pretty spot on with a lot of things we've said this year. We were very on the Philly isn't who everyone thinks they are bandwagon early. We were able to call the Dolphins loss in week 5. We were like, if Miami doesn't get a home win, if they don't get home field advantage, they're not going to make it out in the playoffs. And they got manhandled. It was a disgrace, to be honest with you.
Worst case scenario.
Yeah, it was terrible. It could not have gone worse. And I think we were kind of right on the Bills. I think we've been right on the Niners a lot. And the Ravens for you, Mike Thomas. I know you've been blowing that horn there quite a bit, but I feel good about what we have been able to accomplish this year, and I want to pivot now and talk about Patrick Mahomes' legacy. I also think that this is an omen. So somebody straight up asked Patrick Mahomes about his dad and how he felt about his dad getting arrested for his third DUI, and like, not appropriate. However, I seem to remember last year, the week before the Super Bowl, his brother Jackson got charged with like assaulting a lady that owned a restaurant or something, and it served him well. He won the game the following weekend. And I'm not saying that this is like bad stuff needs to happen to his family in order for him to win, but like, if we're looking at the signs, I'm just saying this looks like another opportunity for Patrick Mahomes to get ring number 3. And I just I want to say, have we ever seen anything like this before? But I don't think that we have. Mike Thomas, I'm going to go to you first. What if Patrick Mahomes wins on Sunday? What does that do to his legacy? And tell me what you think happens if he loses. What does that do for his legacy?
I don't think a lot. Well, I'll say this. I don't think it matters. And that's really odd to say. Are we really going to say that if Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs lose this game, that we're going to go into next year being like, oh, Patrick Mahomes is on the downside of his career. He just doesn't have it anymore. No, he's still going to be the best quarterback in the league, still on path. Nobody's saying he's the GOAT yet, but he definitely has a career trajectory to have enough Super Bowls to make that claim. And he would still be on that trajectory if he loses this one. So I don't know if this one has a huge impact on his legacy, but I am just impressed at how likable he is with having some real red flags surrounding him with his brother and now apparently his father. Like, I'm not saying a DUI is excusable, but there's a big difference to me between somebody who gets 1 DUI and then like 3 DUIs, and then you add on, this is a guy who definitely can afford an Uber. Like, right. He never has to drive.
That is my thing, is like, just have a driver, bro. Like, just have a driver. Honestly, if you got someone from Kansas City, if Patrick Mahomes II went up to someone in Kansas City and was like, do you want to drive my dad around? They would be like, yeah. And they would do it. You wouldn't even have to pay them. They would just be like, yep.
Well, they would probably then be, they'd be the ones getting the DUI at that point then.
Well,
if they're doing it for free.
That's very possible, but still, like, the opportunity for this to not be a thing is there. I don't understand how it's a thing. But anyway, Mike, explain, what do you got? Patrick Mahomes' legacy.
So, first off, agree with both of you guys. You have, like, for me, a DUI is one of the most irresponsible things that you could ever do in your existence. And knowing that you do have the kind of money that you do in your family to so easily not do that.
So much
fucking
money.
Shameful. I agree with Mike Thomas 100%. This game really, for me, doesn't have any bearing on his legacy whatsoever. And I don't know if that's something that just kind of is going to give an air of calmness to him. But there are people that are already saying he is in the tier of quarterback just below GOAT, which is Tom Brady.
They're 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is you're already there at 28 years old. His injury history, for the most part, isn't like, he's had some injuries, but nothing like insane. Knock on wood. But there's so much of his career left that if he does lose a Super Bowl or 2, which he's already lost 1. There's not. I don't think it's one of those things that's really going to impact him that heavily. It's not like it was like Peyton Manning when he was getting to the Super Bowl and he just couldn't win them at first. It's not like that. He's already got the first one, and once you got the first one, it just kind of keeps flowing after that. It's not going to be legacy defining until he starts getting to 5th and 6th Super Bowl, which I think we on this panel all agree It's probably going to fucking happen. So especially if they get him a number one wide receiver at one point, like sorry to interrupt. I just don't think that there's that much. This one in particular doesn't have that big of an impact. And we're not going to notice that impact until he starts going for like number 5, I think.
Well, so what I was going to say, just to backpack off of your draft comment, I think they're going to go wide receiver in this first round. Either that, or they're going to go like interior defensive or offensive line, because they want to. The longer you can keep this man upright, and the more tools you give him to succeed, the better off he's going to be. And that wide receiver core over there has Rashee Rice. He is the only one over there worth a damn.
Who had limited practice today.
Right. Not a good sign. No,
because he was full practice yesterday.
Yeah, Ooh. Bad. That means something hurt.
Yeah, I mean, you got, realistically, it's what? Rashee Rice, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Kadarius Toney is supposed to be practicing.
He's probably not even going to be active.
He said he's healthy. And then
he's been a healthy scratch.
And then he blamed his outburst on Instagram Live towards the Chiefs about making him inactive. He blamed it on Giants fans somehow. So that was cool.
Well, hold on a second. I've heard you two talk about Kadarius Toney. I mean, he had a point.
Yeah, he's a cuck.
He was definitely talking about you two.
I am just really, really hopeful that his next rap album does really good, because I don't think I'm not trying to be mean. I don't think a team is going to sign him when he gets cut this year.
He'll be the first football star to have a successful rap album.
Honestly, so what was funny to me was they asked Kadarius Toney during like the interviews and stuff that they did, like, are you a number one receiver? And he was like, when I got the ball, yeah. And Mike Spillane sent me Antonio Brown retweeted and was like, LOL, 2 pictures of the ball hitting Kadarius Toney in the face and in the chest that happened this season. And I was like, you know what? I hate to be seen agreeing with Antonio Brown, but goddamn, does the man have a point? Holy shit. Yep. There is at least 2 games that the Chiefs lost this season because of you. How can you say that? I don't. Anyway.
He didn't say what category.
Yeah,
he was just number 1.
He's just number one. He's got a 1 in his number. That's what he thought they were talking about. My thoughts and feelings on this Mahomes legacy thing. I'm somewhat in lockstep with you guys, where I think if Mahomes wins this one and he goes 3-1 in Super Bowls, I think this cements him as I'm going to say top 8 quarterback in NFL history, because of how quickly he's been able to do it. The first 2 he's won, I would say he won for the most part himself. He has not had a very good defense. This is the first year he's had a fairly good defense. And the one that they lost to the Bucks, you lost a Super Bowl to Tom Brady. It's really hard to discredit you for that. Second, there was multiple, like, the highlights of his throws in that game were better than some of the highlights he has in the ones that he's won. That was the one where he's in the air, like jumping, and the one hits Tyreek Hill in the face mask and Travis Kelce in the chest and Tyreek in the hands another time. Like, the dude tried to will them to victory, and like the receivers just did everything they could to not get there. So if he wins this, I say he cements himself in that area. If he loses, I think he's just outside of that. I think he's looking top 10, top 12. But his trajectory moving forward, like, this guy could, looking at them and what they're able to do with the pieces that they have, this guy could win 8, 9, 10 Super Bowls, and I wouldn't be surprised. No part of me would be like, no, there's no way that happens. Like, he's just defining what this position is going to be moving forward. He is the prototype. and now everyone else has got to play catch up. So I just think that that's where we're at currently. But that's my
funny
feeling.
because I feel like he's already top 8 if his career ended today before this game is played.
And that's very possible. If I honestly thought about it a little more, I might agree with you. But I just think you could make the argument that, like, okay, Brady's the GOAT. You have Peyton Manning, who has a bunch of records. Drew Brees has a bunch of records. You have, oh my God, who else do you want to put
Montana.
on Mount Rushmore? Yeah, Montana has, 4 or 5 Super Bowls. So Montana goes up there. You
Unitas.
have Johnny Unitas is another one. So that's 6. You start getting in like the area of like who's played it long enough at a high enough level. This is where your Aaron Rodgerses are. This is where your Ben Roethlisbergers are. This is where
he's better than Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, those guys. I think you'd think he's already above them on the list. I would argue, because I don't put a lot of stock in Super Bowls, he's above Terry Bradshaw for me. Terry Bradshaw, won 4 Super Bowls. He was a quarterback calling his own plays in the huddle. Like, he played the game unlike anybody else on this list. But definitely Mahomes would be higher than him for me right now.
Yeah, I mean, the argument could be made. And I don't know that, like I said, I don't know that I would fight you. I threw an 8 out there as like, maybe it's higher than that. Maybe he wins this one and he's in that top 5 territory. Because, like, did Drew Brees throw for 5,000 yards more than everyone else in history? Yeah. He's only got 1 Super Bowl, though. Had teams around him to be able to do it. Didn't do it. Like, Peyton Manning's got 2 on different teams, but that second one was not Peyton Manning. That second one was Von Miller. Von Miller won him that Super Bowl. So, like,
I think I have him higher on my all-time list, which might be why I'm willing to say this game doesn't matter whether he wins or loses.
Super possible. And again, I love him. He's great.
I'm willing to say that I think I have him at probably 6 on my list right now, currently.
Who are the 6? Curious.
So the 5 that I have ahead of him right now would be Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Joe Montana, Drew Brees, Dan Marino.
I agree with Marino. I would probably throw a Unitas in front of Drew Brees.
So
personally,
for me, and this is where it becomes super subjective. I feel like I look at like Unitas and like, yes, he's a pioneer of the game, but then I look at modern quarterbacking and I'm like, God damn.
Well, if we're doing that, Mahomes is better than everybody, even Brady.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
He plays the game at a higher level because that's where the game is right now.
So that's what it's hard. Because, like, I mean, if I wanted to, I could, a Giants legend is Y.A. Tittle, but I'm not fucking putting him on here.
So my number 3 is Kerry Collins. Love good old Kerry. No, I'm doing mine right now, just off the top of my head. And I don't know. I have one right here. I don't know that I can put Breeze over Mahomes. Like, the more I'm thinking about all of the teams that Breeze had and all the opportunity he had to be able to put these wins together and like make runs, and he didn't. Like,
here's the thing.
Patty's got his worst offensive team he's ever had, and they're still here.
I agree with everything that you're saying, but you yourself a moment ago just said that Super Bowls aren't the end all be all. So that's my reason for putting Breeze ahead of him, is his career body of work, especially for someone who had been universally doubted. I think that is incredibly impressive. Well, not only short guy, but injury history. Like, you literally remember the fact that he was signing for Miami and then they failed a physical for him. And
you hear that, Craig Brooks? You remember that? You remember, Craig? You remember when you guys almost signed Drew Brees?
One of the best quarterbacks in NFL history for the Saints.
Yeah, remember when Chad Pennington was a Dolphin? Remember that? In Miami, Drew Brees won his Super Bowl. It was a beautiful thing.
Hope he's enjoying the match.
Yeah, he could. I could see an argument for Patty being top 5 after this. If he wins this Super Bowl, I'm going to change what I said and say that I agree with you. I think he is top 8 now. But if he gets this third ring, he's in top 5 for me, and he's hunting down some of these guys because like Peyton did it for a long time. Breeze did it for a long time. Brady obviously did it for a long time. But to the level that we're seeing, and at the end, Breeze had all the players. Peyton had a bunch of guys that wanted to play with him. You know, he had Welker. Brady's had his Welkers and his Mosses and his, you know, his Gronks and all that stuff. Mahomes has done it at this point. If he wins this one, he's done it with Travis Kelce and a box of scraps. Like there's not a
Who's
lot
he, Tony
of,
Stark?
Yeah, that's exactly the reference I was making. He built this in a cave.
He won these Super Bowls with Rashee Rice,
who could be a great number 2. I don't want to poo-poo on Rashee Rice. Like that dude could be an electric number 2 receiver. Patrick Mahomes does not have a number 1 or a number 3 receiver in my mind. MBS is a 4 on a good team. He's sitting as the 3 right now, and that's insane to me. So they do this. I think Patty is firmly in the top 5. I'm glad we talked that out. That feels good.
Yeah. I like it.
Another thing I wrote in our outline, our very short outline, because there's just not a whole lot to talk about. We talked a lot about some stuff last week. Kyle Shanahan redemption. That I'm sure he still has nightmares about that Patriots comeback against the Falcons. But a fun statistic I saw this week and I thought would be fun to share with you guys is in the rematch, when 2 head coaches are facing each other and the rematch happens, the person who lost the first time has never won the second game. It's happened 4 times in NFL history in the Super Bowl. It's happened 4 times, and the losing coach has never won again. So that bodes really well for Andy Reid and the Chiefs.
I will counter you that when Jim Nantz calls the Super Bowl, the team in white always wins. Bodes really well for the 49ers.
It's true, but I did see one other weird thing is that the Chiefs have like a 97% win percentage under a crescent moon, and it's going to be a crescent moon.
And I saw one other thing, and it was a picture of Brock Purdy at Media Day, and he looked like a kid wearing a Brock Purdy costume.
I saw a picture of Brock Purdy in the Dallas bookstore consortium or whatever that store was.
Yeah, he looks very, very much like Lee Harvey Oswald, and I haven't been able to not see that.
That was a headline I did not have on my bingo sheet this year. Did not expect people to compare Brock Purdy to the looks of Lee Harvey Oswald.
I mean, can we deny it, though?
Where was he?
Photographic evidence. As far as I'm concerned, Brock Purdy is an AI-generated image.
He's a creative player. He is a creative player. You look at that dude, and it's like he's a creative player that was made that whoever was making him got bored like halfway through and was like, "This is fine," and like
default all the way.
And they were just like, "Whatever. He doesn't need to scramble. I don't care," and they just went with it. Like that's Brock Purdy to me.
I'm literally sending you guys the picture of the Halloween costume thing in our group chat, so you guys will see that in a second because it's not wrong.
Oh my gosh!
Do you think that this could be a oh my god, it is absolutely that. Holy shit. Mom, the meatloaf.
High school senior picture dressing up as Brock Purdy.
Do we think that this could be a redemption game for Kyle Shanahan, or is Kyle Shanahan just going to crumble like he probably should have against the Lions? Mike Thomas, I'm coming to you first.
Well, not to spoiler how I feel like the game is going to go, but I think Kyle Shanahan is in a really good spot here. Outside of the practice field and the alarm going off in the team hotel at 6 a.m. this morning and all those other really bad signs, it was 18, nearly double what you said, sir.
I read a report that it was only 10 minutes.
So I heard a player say it felt like 18.
Well, he's probably wrong.
Who are you going to trust?
It
A
felt like
reporter
30.
or a football player? I've been in those hotel rooms in the early morning hours.
Player.
I have been asleep, woken up with those alarms going off before after a night of drinking with Craig Brooks, ironically enough, and that was not a good time.
Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed? The last time I was in a hotel with Craig Brooks, we had separate rooms, but he did the booking, and I just paid him for the room because he used points or something.
So you had a presidential suite? Because he just went for the highest level.
Yeah, I wish. He asked them in the special request column to cut out pictures of Alfonso Ribeiro just around the room. And it was one of the strangest things that I've ever seen. I walked into my room and immediately on the bed, everything was done up. The bed was done. And there was just a nice picture of Alfonso Ribeiro smiling at me. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And it was in mirrors and stuff. There was one in the shower. I went to go get a shower and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I texted Craig and he was like, oh, good, they did it. And I was like, what?
And then Alfonso actually got out of the shower.
And then Alfonso shows up and he was like, what are we doing? It's not unusual. And I was like, stop it. It's not. We're not ready for that. It's too late and I haven't had enough to drink. Mike Spillane, Kyle Shanahan redemption game. Do you think so? Yes, no, maybe so?
I mean, he's got to shoot for it. I don't think that if he loses this game, it's technically not that he would not be redeemed. It's just you can't get fucking dog walked in this game. If somehow this game ends up being 41-6 Chiefs, it's done. It's over. He can't win the big one. They kind of got bailed out by the Lions in the last game. This is 100% lining up. The stars aligning. Their chakras are centered. For them to go ahead and have a redemption arc here. It's going to be interesting to see if they could take it. I do think that this is something that he needs, and I'm sure that it's something that's weighing heavily on his mind. Now I just got to see if he gets it right. That's really what it comes down to.
Well, so what I want to do from here is I would like to make our Super Bowl picks. Then we'll move on to the couple other things we have in the outline, just because, like I said, there's not a whole lot to talk about yet. Mike and I are prepping some draft stuff, getting our big boards ready, getting ready to do some mock drafts. So that'll be coming to the channel soon. But we are going to start with our Super Bowl picks, and I'm going to lead it off with Mike Spillane. Who are you taking in this game, buddy?
I went and checked the app because I wasn't sure if I did it, but I think I did it last week because I forgot that the Pro Bowl existed because it's so different now. And
it's so much worse.
I mean, parts of it were fun, but if I paid money for that, I'd probably be a little bit annoyed. I'm going Chiefs because I can't bet against Patrick Mahomes at this point. I just can't.
Mike Thomas.
Well, my official pick is the opposite of whatever Pat picks, so I have a chance at tying the Pick'em League.
Yes.
But because you're making me go first, I see what's happening here. I
can go first. I already have my pick. I know who I want.
Do it.
Okay. I am going to take the Kansas City Chiefs in this game.
Yes.
I have them going winning against the Niners 28-20. I am taking Andy Reid and his knowledge and fortitude and hamburger lovingness.
It's an interesting
in this
word
game.
for it.
He is fortuitous. He is fortituitous. I'm gonna just take this Chiefs team. Travis Kelce wants to win this one for his girl that loves to take plane rides, and you can't hate on it. You can't hate on it. I respect it. Give me the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes MVP. 3-1 in Super Bowls. Dude is going to be the GOAT. Mike Thomas, your turn, buddy.
I will say I'm taking 49ers. I was going to take them anyway, so very happy there. I think San Francisco is the better team. I really like Kansas City. I like Mahomes. If anybody who has known me for long enough, you know that I tend to hate the dynasties and begin to just severely root against them. This Kansas City team, I have none of that. No ill feeling towards this Kansas City team. I actively root for them many weeks. I just think San Francisco's a bit of a better team. I will actually be cheering for Kansas City, except for the fact that I need San Francisco to win for the Pick'em League. That would be the only reason I actually cheer for San Francisco. I think it's going to be a great game, 27-24. Brock Purdy will probably be Super Bowl MVP because nobody's going to deny that storyline of last in the draft to Super Bowl MVP. I do say my dark horse for Kansas City MVP, though, is Pacheco, if he plays.
I was watching some of his college highlights actually before we got on tonight, and it made me mad that he was at Rutgers because that is Giants territory. And like looking at him, he reminds me so much of Ahmad Bradshaw, who is like one of my favorite Giant running backs of all time. And to look at him and like see that similarity and being like, this dude was in fucking Giants country and you guys missed him. What were you doing? So that bothered me a little bit, but that's probably because we're losing
Daniel Jones a contract.
He runs a little bit more angry than Ahmad Bradshaw ever did. I will give you that. Oh, and I didn't give my score, so this is going to be the shocking part. Is I have Chiefs 38-24.
No, oh, you do have a little bit of dog walk. I like that. Two tutties. I'm a fan. You know what? Brock looked shaky last game, and like, if they get to him early, I think the Chiefs could have their way with him. But we'll see. This is why we play the game. I don't know, man. Ahmad used to run pretty angry, so we'll have to agree to disagree or like have a date and watch some highlights or something. But
I'll have a date, baby.
Oh hell yeah. I would like to move on and talk about everyone's favorite McDonald's eating, boxing, cigar smoking, former NFL wide receiver, Chad Ocho Cinco.
Ocho Cinco.
My dude is going to be a coach for Antonio Pierce's Raiders. Immediate thoughts, reactions to this? Mike Thomas against it, down on it.
I am just hearing about this now. He's going to be in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
he's not making the full season. He's not making that full season. I don't have anything against that man. Not really, not anymore.
He does like to gamble a lot.
I find him to be extremely entertaining.
He's a very entertaining person.
I don't think he follows football all that closely anymore. And I think he
does.
Was just an insanely talented person.
He still follows football. It's just he follows football. You know, he follows the world's game, not American football as much.
See, that is a step down. I'm just kidding.
Mike,
what position is it?
Thoughts?
Is it a wide receiver coach?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not going to go well.
I don't think they've confirmed what he's doing. I haven't seen anyone confirming what his role is going to be. It's just that he said that he's joining the staff, and there hasn't been any official announcement of what he's doing. So for me, it sounds fun. Let's see what happens.
If he can get an extra 2% out of Devontae Adams, that is going to make him one of the best receivers of all time.
Could be.
Antonio Pierce tweeted that he's hired Chad Johnson as Raiders' assistant wide receiver coach.
Is he back as Chad Johnson? It's not Chad Ocho Cinco anymore?
He didn't specify that, but that in the article that I'm looking at, they call him Chad Johnson, but I'm pretty sure his last name is still Ocho Cinco. Which is also incorrect Spanish and has always bothered me, but we're not here for that. So I think it's a cool storyline. Will it amount to anything else? Probably not. I don't necessarily know that Ocho Cinco wants to coach. I don't look at him and I'm like, this dude wants to put in the hours to be an offensive coordinator. Like, I don't get that vibe from him. I think he probably misses a locker room. He misses being with the boys and that competitive element. And being an assistant wide receiver coach in Vegas probably sounds fun. So that's kind of what I think, but we'll see. We will see. Vegas needs all the help it can get after that Josh McDaniels nightmare that happened over there. Speaking of Josh McDaniels, the man that came from the Bill Belichick tree, Bill Belichick does not have a home. Mike Spillane, I want to lead it off with you here. Should Brian Daboll be quaking in his seat a little bit because Billy might want to come home?
Oh, wow. I mean, this next year for the Giants is going to be incredibly interesting. At this point, I can't see anybody hiring Bill Belichick for a head coaching job. Like I just don't like. There's just no. Obviously, there's no jobs available. There's nothing currently open. He's not going to go coach in college. That's fucking not happening. If it's going to be really interesting to see if he takes this year off, if he decides he wants to come back after that. If he does, it's only going to be for a select handful of jobs. Part of me wants to be like, maybe that would make sense because he would be able to tell John Mara to shove it. Because not many people can do that and get away with it. But I don't think I'm at a point where I'm ready to say Brian Daboll should be shaken in his boots yet. I think we need to see how this draft cycle is going to go first before I can feel like there's going to be a level of concern.
Mike Thomas, you have said all along that Bill Belichick should probably just ride off into the sunset. What are your thoughts, feelings, beliefs on this?
I think it's just interesting that Daboll is like less than 2 seasons removed from him having videos of him dancing in the locker room, and now we're talking about him quaking in his boots. Isn't that right?
That's New York media.
Last season. Yeah,
it was beginning of last year. Yeah, he won Coach of the Year too.
Yeah.
For the record, I don't think this. I think Daboll should get at least 5 years to be able to implement his system, get his players, get shit right. The accelerated timeline might have to do with the fact that there's some animosity with Wink Martindale, who obviously kind of like blackballed himself because he's not even got a defensive coordinator position in the league. Well, that doesn't help. But nobody interviewed him for defensive coordinator from what I understand, and he's now interviewing for the job for Michigan, but he's still got to interview for the job, and they're not like just handing it over to a guy that had a fairly competent defense in the NFL last year. So that's very telling to me, but just the way that the Giants coaching staff has kind of caught on fire here recently makes me a little leery of what may or may not happen at the end of next offseason with Brian Daboll. And John Mara is very seemingly attached to Daniel Jones, and we'll talk about that here in a hot sec. But your thoughts on Belichick, the Giants, not the Giants, but just Belichick, really.
His best chance was sticking in New England, and I'm really surprised that New England moved on the way they did. I thought they would have done more of a step down of like, okay, you're not the GM anymore, but you'll stay on as coach. You've earned that right. But hey, they didn't. And I think it's going to take a very wild and lucky different events that have to all happen in order for him to coach again and in order for him to succeed at coaching. If he wanted a job, if he just wanted any old job, I'm sure he could get hired somewhere next year. But the general consensus is he's going for the all-time wins record. So he needs to go after a team that can win now, not something that needs to be built. So those teams are few and far between. Those teams who end up looking for a coach aren't going to look at a Belichick and say, hey, you're cool we're going to bring you in for 3 years and see what happens. They're going to want somebody who could be there for 5 to 10 years. So right. I think it's just, you're going to have to get real lucky for him to get on another NFL coaching staff that's actually for a team that's worth a damn. So truthfully, I think he might have coached his last game.
The best fit for him in team build already, as it stands, is Dallas. Dallas is the team that's the most ready with the worst coaching staff. However, Jerry Jones won't give up the power. And even though Jerry has said like, oh, I think we would work great together. No, the fuck you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Bill Belichick wants all the power all the time to be able to make all the calls. Robert Kraft was there to sign checks. That was his job. Jerry is still too involved in the day-to-day process, and it would never work with Belichick in Dallas, ever.
Correct.
unless Jerry died, and then it would maybe work, but it depends on who's in control after that. So that is my 2 cents. I think that would be the best place for him to, he wants to win the record. He wants a team that can be competitive. That Dallas team is built, ready to go. It just needs leadership and maybe a better quarterback. But really you put Kirk Cousins on that team and they're probably a better team than the one that Dak Prescott leads them. But
ouch.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a big Dak loses. He loses. Like he's it reminds me of, and this is a very dated reference, but I watched the Newsroom when that came out with Jeff Daniels, and he looks at the woman who's representing the liberal party, and he goes, if you guys are so smart, why do you always fucking lose? You lose so goddamn always. And it's like, yes, that is literally Dak Prescott. If he's so good, why does he always lose? Answer me the question. Why does he lose games he's supposed to win at home in his building? Just, those are my feelings. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Bill. I think he wants to come in and take over a program, and I don't know that there's anyone in the NFL that, seeing how the last couple of years in New England went, are going to be willing to give him the keys. I wouldn't, personally. His style of football is dying out, and I think Saban saw that happening in college too, and he was like, I'm done. Like Saban was like, I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't for me. And he was like,
I'm going to interrupt you on that. Saban did not quit because his type of football is dying out. He quit because of name, image, and likeness. That's 100% what it is. He can't recruit the way that he used to anymore because now people are getting paid. Fucking 100%.
Well, that's part of the game. The game isn't played the same way anymore. So at least there. But yeah, I don't know. Belichick is very interesting because, like, I've said it on here, and I don't know who agrees with me, who disagrees with me, but I think there's more of a case for Belichick being a very okay coach, a very good coach, maybe even a great coach, but not the greatest coach of all time, because all he did after he lost Tom Brady was lose. All he did is lose. And, like, dude was the greatest quarterback of all time. I get it. But he went to another team, immediately won with a whole new coaching staff, and you had 4 years and you didn't do anything.
It's really hard to find a quarterback. It's a lot easier to win when you're that quarterback.
I mean, also,
it's a lot easier for a quarterback to switch teams.
You got to remember there was still some coaching experience for Belichick before Brady, and it also was not too stellar. So,
right, and that's my thought process. Is like, before Brady, it wasn't great. With Bledsoe, it was fine. Like, he had half a good season, and it was like, okay, yeah, these guys could do something. Then Brady was a dynastic run. They had that one time with Matt Castle where he looked kind of good. Jimmy Garoppolo looked kind of good. But, like, anytime those guys went anywhere else, they didn't have any success. So, like, I don't know. Belichick's an enigma to me because, like, he wants the most wins of all time, has the most losses of all time.
There's very few Hall of Fame coaches that don't also have a Hall of Fame quarterback attached to him.
No, absolutely. But the greatest quarterback of all time, and you proved you were unable to win without him, before him and after him.
Yeah, but at the same time, those are 20 years of his prime coaching career.
It's true.
At the same time.
It's true. It'll just always be a question mark for me.
Yeah.
For me personally. And this is no disrespect to Bill Belichick. Like, obviously, you've got the rings, you've got the money, you've got the status. Like, who the fuck am I? But just throw it out there. I now would like to speak about shortly, because Mike Thomas probably won't have a whole lot of insight on this, but I know this was something I could get a good rise out of Mike Spillane about. Daniel Jones, according to Jordan Schultz, has a lot of believers in the New York Giants front office and coaching staff. He reported this week on, I believe it was ESPN, that they expect him, as long as he is healthy, to be the quarterback for week 1 this year. Mike Spillane, talk to me.
I don't think that that's true. And the reason that I'm going to say that I don't think that that's true is because I think he's got one believer in the front office and the coaching staff, and that is John fucking Mara. John Mara has such a hard-on for him being the guy to be the heir apparent to Eli Manning that he's willing to sacrifice the well-being and success of the football team for it to hopefully be true, especially because there was a glimmer of hope last season that he could be something. Instead, he's regressed to being exactly what we thought he could be, which is just not great and overdrafted at 6. He's on top of that also just been injury prone again. They got him help in weapons to try and be better, and his decision making just got worse. We know who Daniel Jones is. I'm not going to sit here and try and make myself feel like I think he can be a guy. I just don't anymore. He's 6 seasons into his career. He's had 1 winning season. He's 5-27 against teams with winning records. Like,
is that good?
Last time I checked, that is not the high score.
Okay.
So,
good to know.
Yeah, it's not good. So at this point, and this is the thing, okay? I think at this point from John Mara, it is a giant pity party for Daniel Jones because they know that as an organization, they completely fucked this kid. Like, bad phrasing, but you know what I mean.
Well, he was an adult when he was in the league, so he was never a kid.
Yeah. So,
get on the right page.
In his 6 years in the NFL, he's had 3 head coaches, and 5, I think, offensive coordinators. Like,
I think it's 4.
4.
He
okay.
Started with Shermer, and I don't remember who Shermer's offensive coordinator was. And no, he started with McAdoo.
I'm not sure.
And that was he was Shermer's offensive coordinator. And Shermer took over as head coach. I don't remember. He's had 4 or 5, which is substantial.
So this guy has, the second that you feel like he's getting comfortable, they're changing things up for him. And I feel like there is a belief that John Mara thinks that they owe him something because of how much they've screwed up his development. But for me, all that I've gathered out of this is that this is the first time that he has now had consecutive seasons in a row with the same offensive coordinator. And the fact that he had 2 seasons in a row with Mike Kafka, and now we're going into season 3, and it looks like Mike Kafka, who somehow, through all of the bullshit, received a promotion. And I'm very confused by all of it. But now he's still going to have Mike Kafka as his offensive coordinator. And at this point, I don't know what you can still see in him. Like, I do not get it. And at this point, that's why I'm saying, I think, like, you can't tell me that Joe Shane as general manager and Brian Daboll as head coach, that you've gone and visited Drake May and watched him play 7 times during his final season at North Carolina.
7. So many.
There's not other players from North Carolina that you're watching that closely. The other one that you'd be watching would be Tez Walker. And last time I checked, the NCAA didn't let him fucking play. He's
like a 3rd round dude too. You don't see him 7 times.
Tez Walker, he'll probably go in round 2, I think, because this wide receiver class is so strong. But again, he could have been a 1st round guy if he actually got to play. Anyways, I digress. That's going way off topic. My point is, the people up at the top of the front office wouldn't be visiting a quarterback that many times if they felt that way about the guy who's the starter that they gave a contract to. The coaching staff wouldn't be a part of all of these meetings if they didn't feel that way about the guy that they currently have as their number 1 guy. The only person that feels this way is John Mara, and he's probably the one who's leaking things to the press to be like, yeah, no, we have all the faith in the world with him, because he wants it to be that way. It's his people are scared to step up to John Mara because he is one of those proud football names. He is the American institution of football. it's him. It's the Rooneys. That's it. You know, it's the Green Bay Packers, the whole city of Wisconsin, like all
Everyone
of them
in Wisconsin.
everyone in Wisconsin, all football people, and then it's just the Maras and the Rooneys. But you understand my point when I say that. You know what I'm talking about. So I think that this is him just trying to control his own version of the narrative, and that they want that, and it's going to take Joe Shane, Brian Daboll, it's going to take them saying, no, you're wrong. We're getting our guy whether you want us to or not. It's going to depend how the draft falls too. I don't know that I see them trading up to get that guy. But that's what, realistically, that is my belief, is that it's all John Mara. I actually do not believe that it is the front office or coaching staff. It is only ownership.
Well, Mike Thomas, I want to throw it to you, who's further removed from the Giants, but maybe a less biased party. Thoughts and feelings on Daniel Jones possibly having some believers in that front office and in that coaching staff?
Oh, yeah. I have a lot of thoughts on that. So many thoughts. I kind of spent that segment researching the Apple Vision Pro a little bit. So, you know, if you want to talk about that, I'd be able to throw down on that front. Daniel Jones is a guy. He got overpaid. And the guy who signed that check's a little, you know, he's too embarrassed to admit that he was wrong. Did that sum it up? Is that a good summary?
I think that's pretty fair. I do want to pivot to you though. Who's going to be your starting quarterback day one next season? You know, week one. So there seems to be a little bit of a QB controversy in Pittsburgh.
It's going to be Kenny Pickett for a couple of different reasons. One, Mitchell Trubisky sucks.
He's bad.
But he's bad. He has regressed horribly. He has had 2 chances to prove it in Pittsburgh, and he has proven that he's not worth having those 2 chances. But probably the only thing that Omar Khan has done that I disagree with is, and I think it was Khan that did this, he gave Trubisky a pretty hefty extension, so he's expensive. He didn't earn it after the first year, and when he was first signed, it's like, this contract's great. Mitchell Trubisky is either going to play 1 year and be the guy, and we'll have him under contract for another year, or they'll cut him and not have to pay him a ton of money. And instead, he wasn't the guy, and they paid him anyway. So that's a bummer.
Great.
So he's kind of stuck there. Kenny Pickett's obviously going to go into camp as a starter, even though they're talking about it being a competition. Mason Rudolph is the guy that people want to compete and be the starter, but he's no longer under contract. He's a free agent. And he played well enough that I think he's going to get more than the Steelers can pay, because they're already paying Pickett on his rookie contract. They're paying Trubisky too much money. I don't think they're going to be able to pay Rudolph what he's going to get on the open market. So I'm a little nervous there. But I do think even if all 3 of those go into camp, Kenny Pickett will be the one. It'll be a very close battle, but Mason Rudolph must not practice well. He's never
it's true.
Even floated as a potential replacement for Kenny Pickett or competed against Mitchell Trubisky. Like, he must be awful in practice.
He must suck ass when nothing is on the line. And then he goes into a game and he locks in like the Terminator.
Well, for a couple of games. I mean, I saw him play for a while. It wasn't always that locked in.
Briefly, he locks in. All right, gents. Well, we've reached the end of our outline. We are under an hour as the time goes by right now. Any final
I need to know
thoughts?
something, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
I need to know what calories you guys are consuming on Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh my God.
What kind of
all of them.
What kind of food?
All of the calories. I mean, wings are a staple in this house. So there's going to be wings all day. When I get wings, got to have French fries. So that heavy carbs, heavy proteins. We'll probably have some like charcuterie boards. Boards. Do some
Nothing
crackers.
Like football and charcuterie.
Yeah, those 2 things go well together. And then we'll have probably do some chips and dips and stuff like pretzels. Your prototypical American football snacks. What about you, Mike Spillane?
I'm probably going to end up ordering some wings. I don't really have any plans as of now just because Mal's working. So it's just going to be me watching the game on my own. But I do have a topic for you guys because it was just announced the members of the class of 2024 Hall of Fame.
I did see that the people that were included in that. And so many of them are going.
Well, no, the people that are getting inducted are that's done.
I saw the people that were able to be inducted, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Not
so the class of 2024. I'm going to say one name last and out of alphabetical order. I'm not going to include the senior guys because, that's a little bit more out there.
Screw.
Dwight Freeney.
Fuck him. Yes.
Andre Johnson. Who's the first player drafted by the Texans to get into the Hall of Fame. So cool there.
Nice. That's cool.
Julius Peppers. Patrick Willis.
Yeah.
And then the one that's going to be contentious, Devin Hester.
Why is that contentious? He's the best kick returner of all time.
Thank you. I've said that before too, and I feel like that's deserving of getting in because it is part of the game, and I think that it is deserving to be the best in your career at a certain role like that. You should get in, but I've had arguments with people who said that they don't think he should get in. But at the same time,
good at anything else.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Eli Manning was only good at playing Super Bowls. Okay, you're not going to go ahead. You're going to put him in for that.
Yeah, absolutely. He should be in for that.
That and
Devin Hester's 100% deserving, but only as a kick returner.
Here's my thing, though. My only point with it that I'm a little bit like, I think this was his first time being eligible. And I think it's a little rich for him to be first ballot to get in,
But if he goes in as a kick returner and not a wide receiver, if he goes in as a kick returner, he's first ballot all the way.
I guess so.
Yeah, but kick returner isn't a position. Kick
Sure
returner is a no. It's not. Kick returner isn't a position.
There are kick return specialists.
But they're wide receivers, or they're cornerbacks, or they're running backs.
Their
primary job isn't a position.
Their primary job is to be on special teams returning kicks.
Mason Rudolph's job is jockstrap carrier, but that doesn't change the fact that he gets paid like a quarterback. So
yeah, but he could also be the holder.
He could, but it's the punter. I don't know what. When did that switch happen? Was it Tony Romo's fault? Is that why we went to punters? Because Romo fumbled the snap in Seattle?
Sitting here like my job is beach. It's just beach.
It's beach. That is my favorite picture of Tony Romo, and every time I see it, I'm thinking about it and I'm laughing. Just him full fisting the face mask and him just on his butt, legs out like my daughter sits, and just like this makes me laugh every single time. Yeah, all those guys deserve to go. I could make an argument that Devin Hester doesn't because he's not good at literally any other part of the game, but he was the best kick returner in football and maybe the best, especially with these new rules, the best we'll ever see.
Because they're going to get rid of the kickoff here soon.
Yeah, we're probably 5 years away from there just being no kickoff. You get the ball at your 25 and you go. So
they should keep the kickoff, but get rid of the onside kick first and do a 4th and 15.
I love that.
Yeah,
I have been for that for years. Fuck the onside kick. The onside kick is how is it fair? It's not a fair thing. Because even if the kicker does it well, the odds of it going out of bounds are 80%. So even if he kicks it where they aren't and there's an opportunity and unless you're beaming it at someone's head for it to bounce up and get a jump ball, which is still 50-50, there's really no benefit to doing it. Give me the 4th and 15. A Super Bowl coming down to a 4th and 15. Oh. That would be so cool.
Yeah. That would be really cool.
I wouldn't hate it. Also, Pat, we won, as Giants fans, we won Celebration of the Year from Bud Light, the Celebration of the Year.
Hooray. We celebrated. Did we win?
Tommy DeVito's.
Oh,
that's gosh. A loss. That is actually a loss.
That's
I
kind of an
count
L.
that as an L. Yeah, I count that as an L.
So, I mean, I feel like awards are not shocking. Christian McCaffrey, Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett. Kevin Stefanski, Coach of the Year. Jim Schwartz, Assistant Coach of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year, C.J. Stroud. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Will Anderson.
Myles Garrett did not deserve that award. Just saying. He had like 1 sack over the last half the year.
Did he really? I don't believe you. I think you're a hater.
I will look it up. I mean, I'm definitely a hater. He's
I'm literally
he did try
not
and kill Mason Rudolph that one time.
Shout out to the haters who said I couldn't do it. You were right.
Shout out.
All right. So he had 1 sack against the Jets in his last game. That was week 16.
That doesn't even count.
He had 4 games without a sack. So he had 2 sacks in November, on November 19th. So he had basically 1 sack the entire month of December going into the playoffs. And not that many tackles either. But he has all those advanced stacks like hypothetical sacks and all that fun stuff that Pro Football Focus
QB
likes to make up.
and
I just want to shout this out real quick just because this is crazy. Kevin Stefanski won Coach of the Year because he had more first place votes by 1 vote. It was tied otherwise. So Kevin Stefanski beat D'Amico Ryans by 1 vote. They were actually tied overall on points.
I would have picked D'Amico Ryans as Coach of the Year easily because that Texans team, I think we all said was going to be
I thought they were going to be 2-15.
I really did think that as well.
And it was a generous 2-15. And this is also the first
playoff game.
And this is this is coming from the one guy. I mean, granted, we weren't making podcasts then, but Pat, you can at least vouch for me. I said on draft night that C.J. Stroud was going to be the most successful quarterback in that class. Like I said, he was the guy that I liked the most, and I still thought that Bryce Young was going to have a better year first season than him.
That did not happen.
No, C.J. Stroud, dog certified.
Yeah, he's legit. Anyway, to wrap it up for this evening, any final thoughts as our 2023 season, first full season of going for it, the sun sets. Mike Thomas, I'll start with you because you've been on every one, man. You've been on every one. I don't think you've missed one that we've recorded. Did you miss one? Maybe one.
I was away. I was away on vacation.
You were like our Iron Man, so I have to give you credit. Any final thoughts on the season, on the pod, anything? The floor is yours, my friend.
This has been a very painful season as a football fan and as a Steelers fan. Lots of dark times, lots of hopelessness. I saw my Steelers squander away a golden opportunity. I saw my fantasy team blow a 4-game lead with 5 weeks left to play in the season. There was a lot of times this year where the only thing getting me through and watching football games was this podcast. So thank you, gentlemen, for having a good time, for letting me do this. And then I'm hoping for a damn good Super Bowl. Let's go.
Yes.
Let's get a good one because it's been a while.
All the scoring.
I don't even care about that. I need it to be one of those, last minute touchdowns, amazing acrobatic catch as time's expiring, and confetti just blowing up everywhere.
I'm about it. Mike Spillane, final thoughts on the season, on the pod, all that good stuff.
It's been awesome. I know I joined later in the season, but I appreciate you asking me to be here because friendship is the most important thing we have in this world. And I'm excited for us to be back exactly in 1 year's time, finishing up an episode to where I can say that Eli Manning's officially a first ballot Hall of Famer, so that I could tell everyone to fucking suck it.
He does deserve to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, though.
He is eligible next year.
Only because of his last name.
And
how dare you?
How dare you?
I will fight you. We will get into fisticuffs.
Yeah, no, him, Luke Kuechly, Adam Vinatieri, all getting in next year, and probably I think Earl Thomas is also on the list. He's definitely getting into. There's some good names that are eligible next year. So
it's really come full circle, because the Hall of Fame, I used to be like, who is that? And now it's all guys that like I really liked watching growing up, and I'm like, oh, I'm old now. This is great.
Dude, that's the thing that I like. It's mentally still kind of hard for me. Like when I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh yeah, man, I feel bad for the kid, or this kid's really got something. Only now it's like legitimately, no, he is a kid. I'm 12 years older than that motherfucker.
He is a child. He is a child. Yeah,
like, it was a figure of speech because my dad used to say it, but now it's real life.
Yeah, I remember like falling in love watching Adrian Beltre play third base in the major leagues, and I was like, he was my favorite third baseman to watch, like just defensively, he had a good bat, everything like that. And like I followed him his whole career, and I was like, I love watching this guy play. And he just got into the Hall of Fame, and I was like, holy shit, I'm old. What the hell? So it's been a time. It's been a time. Gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out this season, for making it fun. It was also a hard season for us Giants fans.
Oh yeah.
Hard,
but teach me how to suffer through it.
I have no idea. Bourbon, a lot of bourbon.
Painkillers.
Yelling at the sky. I do a lot of that too. Voted the dumbest fan base, Giants fans. Woo. Hey, in the NFL.
I saw a thing that the Steelers fans had.
I
saw a thing that had Steelers fans as the highest blood alcohol content of all the fans.
Nice.
I respect that.
I don't believe that because it's definitely the Bills.
Buffalo.
But no, it always reminds me of, there's this one TikTok, and Pat knows it because I've sent it to him before, of this guy out in front of Citi Field, and he's like, so I wanted to ask you, what's the best part what's the best part of being a Mets fan? And he's like, honestly, this franchise, it builds such good character because it's such a fucking miserable existence, and there's a lot of peaks and valleys. And so best part about being a Mets fan is that it builds really good character development. If that's the best part, what's the worst part? May through September.
Yeah, that's the amount of people that were like, Tommy DeVito's a guy. I was like, you're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. Just say that you don't know how football works so that we can move on. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out, making this season fun. I had a great time. We are not going away. We'll probably do a Super Bowl recap, thoughts, feelings. We might sprinkle in some draft funsy stuff next week, possibly. But I know we're going to wait to put out a lot of things until after the combine, and then you can come to see us for mock drafts, player rankings, blah, 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 blah. Mike Spillane and I are going to head that up. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Expect a lot of pop culture content when we do record in the off season. So
nice.
A lot of movies and TV shows. And so just be ready for that because we're all into that stuff. And when football stuff happens, we will talk about it. But, there are some quiet months coming up here. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. We do greatly appreciate it. If you would do us the favor and like, comment, and subscribe on this video so that you can hang out with us all through the off season and get ready for the start of next season. Please do so. Thank you so much, like I said, and we will see you all back here next time.